Hello, soulmates, and welcome to the Candid Conversations TV show with DocV. I'm Dr. Virginia LeBlanc-Shuzad, the Pivot Maestro in your corner woman, helping you face and embrace your fears to love the skin you're in and just be. Wow, lifting you into that possibility mindset to serve, profit, and sustain in both life and business. What is our why and motivation on this show? You are, of course, and your rise. We're here to help you navigate those waters of your life and put you back in business as we rise together through true transparency and love. Candid Conversations is where real talk about real experiences, personal journeys, and life and business intersect. Truth and real talk is the norm without exception to help you heal, rebuild, and transform your life and business from the inside out. All are welcome to the show. It is our intention to always take you on a journey of revelation, reconciliation, and renaissance to define your own path and help you realize that you are mission essential in making this world a better place. So CCTV, it's a continuation of our Define Your Path podcast, and we're super happy to bring our spotlight guests from the podcast over here to have a longer conversation because I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but those 25, 30 minutes go way too fast for me. And so we want to bring them over here, allow them to share their truth, have real talk, and allow you to get to know them and us a little bit better. So you never know what you're going to get here. So, but I guarantee it will always be light, love, and life for your soul. And we are bringing back Define Your Path podcast spotlight guest, Elizabeth Watson. Elizabeth, welcome back to Candid and welcome to Candid Conversations TV show.
Oh my goodness, Doc B, thank you for having me back. It is always a delight to speak with you, and I am so excited to just get into the unfiltered part of the
Yes,
conversation.
girl, yes. Look, I'm already, let's get unfiltered. Audience, if you've not listened to or watched Elizabeth Watson's podcast episode on DYP, be sure to do so. And let me refresh your memory before we kick off, okay? So, Elizabeth is a clarity catalyst for exhausted six-figure female entrepreneurs on the verge of walking away from their hard-earned success. An acclaimed intuitive empathic reader, author, and speaker, Elizabeth has supported thousands in their personal journeys and worked directly with hundreds of entrepreneurs to fall back in love with their business. Her unique blend of practical business strategy and intuitive guidance, it creates sustainable success for clients ready to scale without sacrifice, and that's hugely important. So, Elizabeth, let's just pick up where we left off in your podcast episode and follow our flow. So,
Love it.
how about starting with how you've risen from the ashes in honor of our theme, Burnout Rising from the Ashes?
I love this question, Dr. V, and it is so powerful because there is always going to be points in our lives where we're going to feel like we're at rock bottom or we're just totally burnt and we've got nothing left to give. And
No,
it's not just once, right? Like
girl,
that's the myth.
no,
That's the
that's the
myth
myth.
self-help wants to tell you, self-development fields are like, if there, once you've reached that place, then you can meteoric rise and you won't have to worry ever again because you've already
Girl,
done it.
nope.
No, I'm sorry.
Girl, that is the biggest lie.
That's an achievement you get to unlock over and over and over again.
Hmm,
The
hmm.
good news about it is that you do get better at it
Yes.
with practice, which is not necessarily the thing you want to hear, but it should give you some hope if you're in that space of just weight and darkness and
Yeah.
depression is honestly the place that it was for me.
Yeah.
Is, I've been in lighter places, lighter
Okay.
versions of that before and since,
Hmm,
but it was 6 solid years
hmm.
of severe clinical depression for me.
Girl.
And this is the funniest thing about that. If there can be said something funny about depression, this is funny
Yeah.
because my entire adult life, pretty much, like from high school on, actually before, I have had a fascination and studied psychology,
Mm.
abnormal psychology, criminal psychology,
Hmm.
regular psychology. It's been something that I've always loved and delved into. And
Yeah.
yet, when I hit my own depressive patch, I told
Mm.
myself, you can't be depressed because you think you're depressed.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
I told myself it was a catch 22 situation.
Yeah.
So when I sought help finally, when I talked to a doctor about it, they were like, no, sweetheart, no. You see this questionnaire you just answered about anxiety and sleeplessness and how many days in a row you feel sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are not only depressed, you are severely depressed by clinical standards. And like,
Yeah.
should we be checking you into someplace?
Girl, and it's a shock, for anyone who's been at that place and say, because I know when I left the workplace, under, kind of basically constructive discharge, quite honestly and frankly, because, I was one of those people who speaks truth to power and, still is. And so literally when you face things like that, when you face those head on and you're standing up for not only yourself or others, in my case, it's like you start to question your identity, right? You start thinking you start going through imposter syndrome and all of these things and forget not to even mention the cycles of grief, right? The stages of grief that you go through. And before you even know, you don't even realize when you get to a depressed state, quite frankly, because um, I had never actually answered these questionnaires, right? I had never been presented with a questionnaire like that before when I was going to my doctor for a number of issues because I had all kind of musculoskeletal, inflammatory, chronic inflammation stuff going on, and it was just all compounding, right? Because stress is that trigger for everything, no matter how it's onset. And so literally, I'm answering these questions and I'm looking at these numbers, right? Because I'm being honest with myself. Literally, I'm having that candid conversation with myself. Um, and when I saw that, I was like, and when the nurse approached me and I'm thinking like, she's like, well, we have to do this for XYZ. And, I think we should probably, refer you out to, for a behavioral specialist. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's a massive wake up call. And I like that you talk about the mourning process because
Yeah.
we don't realize how intrinsically we have linked who we are to
Hmm.
what we do or who we're with, right? We
Yeah.
assign our meaning based off of these external factors and we
Hmm.
don't realize we've done it. And
Yeah.
that's how the depression creeps in so gradually. Like it's the
Hmm.
frog, right? You put it in boiling water, it jumps the hell out. But if you
Right.
put it in the pot and start heating
Mhm.
it up,
Right.
before you know it, you're depressed frog. It's like, I'll just be frogwa. It's fine. So it's huge and it happens in sneaky little ways.
Yes.
And then, like you said, you start to get it in your body. Like this is the thing I think is so powerful about epigenetics getting more and more mainstream focus is we
Hmm.
know now that these are manifestations of not just
Yes.
genetics or environment. Those play a factor, but
Hmm.
stress,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Unhappiness, the
Hmm.
energies of emotions that we suppress or
Hmm.
defer or whatever, like you shove it down deep, it's
Yes.
still there. It's still
Yeah.
doing things in your body. You don't
Totally.
realize it. And
Yeah.
this concept of disease being
Mm.
dis-ease is
Mm.
like that
That's
blew my
powerful.
mind.
Girl, I had not thought of that. Dis-ease. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Because our body knows something wrong. Our brain knows it, but our brain is too busy thinking about too many other things to like give it much pause. But our body's like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Hmm.
hold up, crazy.
Girl.
Like,
Yeah. Go ahead.
no, it just
Yeah.
it's insane. And the conversation, I believe it was Bruce Lipton. I was listening to him talk about at one point about this reality check that
Mm-hmm.
when you go into surgery, right? When you go into a major surgical procedure,
Hmm.
and they need to do something really huge, right? Like
Yeah.
a bypass or they're working on the brain or something
Right.
massive,
Right.
they have to literally shut down parts of your body
Yeah.
because otherwise, right? It's a
Mhm.
system. It all works when
Right.
it's working. So they have to
Hmm.
shut down, they have to kill parts of your body for a limited time. And the
Hmm.
way they do that is
Hmm.
massive doses of the stress hormone.
Girl, shut up.
Yeah,
I had not processed that, and I've had at least three major surgeries.
it is
Wow.
terrifying. So the same thing they're going to do to your body to
Yeah.
shut down parts of it so that they can work on massive internal organs is
Yeah.
what we are low level dosing ourselves with day in and
Hey,
day out.
oh my gosh. Yes,
Compound effect. I mean, think about what that's doing to you. Is it any wonder that
girl.
over 77% of the population has some form of chronic stress related illness?
Girl, this is making so much sense to me now. And it's crazy. That's why I love Candid Conversations because I mean, you never know where we're going to go. And then, when we're living and walking through, these real life experiences and, we're picking up and learning things. Long story short, when I had the onset of my musculoskeletal issues, and apparently I'm one of those people, and I think it's probably because those of us who are fighters, we can carry a greater amount of stress or anxiety. That whole thing is when we're thinking about fight, flight, freeze, right? So literally, I almost fell to the ground one night working crazy hours. When I was over in foreign service from my desk. COVID, middle of COVID, my body just decided to shut down. So I guess I had doped it that much with stress, it had
Yep.
reached its peak.
Yep. It was like, all right, operating
Hmm,
table, let's go.
girl.
Like
Wow.
the body remembers, the body
Yeah.
encodes, like the brain may not process, the conscious mind may not process,
Mm-hmm.
but the body remembers.
Body remembers. Right. Yeah. And when you think about just the connection, the mind, the body, the soul, I love the fact that I'm having revelations right now. The mind, the body, the soul, it's all connected, right? So, it makes sense when there's something going on and one of them, it's affecting the others in whatever way that it's affecting them. And that's why it's so important, and that, I do the type of work that I do on my side of the house with my husband, powering your soul pivot and addressing those three areas, right? Particularly when it comes to business, as you do as well. I think a certain amount of energetics and all that, we can get into all of that. It's so important, and when I literally was spending, the past, 21 to really the beginning of this year, and just kind of walking through my recovery and, and just sitting with God and, the universe and just trying to, write, expel, that negative energy, from my mind, my system, everything, it all makes perfect sense. And it's so important. It's necessary because if we are our business and our business is us, and we're operating and that energy we're carrying, it carries over. And so,
Yes.
yeah, so, oh my goodness, girl, look, this
Yeah.
is,
This is something I talk to people about. This is something I work with my clients on. This is a conversation I want more people having. And this is a key point when I give my signature talks. The
yeah.
health of your business is
Hmm.
a direct reflection of
Man,
your health.
yes, ma'am. Because I had to
If
put mine down. Yeah,
yeah, if
yeah.
one is out of whack, you need to look at the other one and you need to seriously evaluate. And 9 times out of 10, it
Hmm.
starts with you
Yes.
because you are your business's greatest asset
Hmm.
and it cannot thrive if you don't,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is a difficult conversation because
Hmm.
how many of us, it's okay, you can raise your hand, you can share in the comments, you can be
Right.
honest. How
Yes.
many of us blame ourselves?
Right. Hmm.
When something goes wrong, when something's wonky, even when we're out of whack, like if
Right.
somehow we find a reason to make it our fault,
Yeah.
right? We go looking for a reason and that's conditioning,
It
right?
is.
That is conditioning. That is social, cultural, generational
That.
conditioning
Hmm.
to like take like responsibility of it onto ourselves. And even when you're in that like victim place and you're like, oh, everything's happening to me, why does this happen to me, there's
Hmm.
still a part of you that's like, oh my gosh, how
Yeah.
did I make this happen, what did I do
Right.
wrong,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And that is so damaging. Like it's a byproduct
Yeah.
of what's happening that is making the whole system
Yes.
go haywire.
Right.
And you're going to feel it in your body. Your mind is going to be racing. Your emotions are going to be out of whack. And all of it can pretty much stem from the fact that you are so disconnected
Hmm.
from your spirit, from your soul, from the thing that is so innately
Potential.
you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
you've gotten out of the habit of listening to it.
Hmm. Yeah. And then, when you have all of this external brainwashing going on, also, folks gaslighting you, or even just, the things we watch, right? Or the circles we travel in and the subliminal messaging, whether it's verbal or, it's cited, it's all playing into that moment when you do hit that wall, and then all of a sudden you're in crises, and then it's affecting you in all kinds of ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I talk about this a lot because I am a professional reader and I do tarot and oracle and other things, but I talk about this a lot as
Yeah.
your tower moment because
Mm.
the tower card in tarot is the moment where everything goes, it falls down. It's an image of a tower being struck by lightning where people are literally falling out of the building as it crumbles to the ground. And
Mm.
that is your burnout moment. That is that moment where you stand up and then everything shuts off, right? Like
Right.
your whole body was just like, nope,
Yeah.
done. It's
Wow.
when things fall the hell apart
Yeah.
that we finally have no choice but to face that
Yes.
we were on a foundation of sand anyway, right?
Mm.
There was no way it was sustainable.
Girl, no. Mm-mm.
Some part of us knew it, but we were just muscling through it.
Right.
And
Right.
this is one of the things that I think was incredible about the experience that COVID gave us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because so many, like it was this massive awakening
Mm-hmm.
to what we had been doing. Like we had been wearing burnout and
Yes.
chronic conditions like a badge of
Girl.
honor. Like I may have been sick, but I went to work and I still got
Yeah.
stuff done.
Yeah.
Like I may have
Yeah.
broken a bone, but I slapped
Yeah.
that sling on. I got that brace and I
Yeah.
just went right back to work. I muscled through it.
Right.
I worked through the pain. And we
Yeah.
wear that as a badge of honor.
Girl, that is crazy. I remember when I used to see, before I went over into foreign service and I was at the station at the Pentagon, I remember I used to see people with boots on their feet, right? Walking those long halls, miles around and across, or, on these scooters, just going to work, making it happen, right? Because that's what is expected, right? That's what's expected of chain of command. That's just, it's the conditioning.
Hmm.
And so now when I look back at that, and that now that I'm in this space of, of being, right? Just being, I'm like, wow. It seems so far back, right? But then I start to even have that conversation with myself again, because I always like to check in. It's important to do that. Girl, what the hell were you thinking? I mean, did you really
Yep.
forgot who you were, and whose you were, and and all of this conversation, right? But for a long time, well, and most of us, we view job as secure, right? Was that saying job
Right.
security? And well, we know that's not true now, right? And
Well, and it's
Mhm.
even worse than that, right? Like yes, that's the truth. We are in a material existence. We have to have material things to survive. That equates to needing money,
Right.
which means you need an income, which means you need
Yes.
some form of work.
Hmm.
And this is the thing that's so damaging and toxic, I think, especially in Western culture. I know it's pretty universal, but there are places
Yeah.
where that have already like they never got into it or they've broken out of it. But when you meet somebody,
Hmm.
the first thing you do is say, "Hi, my name is, and I do,"
Girl. Yes. They want to know your whole material lineup. Yes. Hmm.
right?
Titles and
You
everything.
identify as your
Yeah.
job,
Yeah.
even
Yes.
above a family, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And it can be contextual, like where you are can
Yeah.
dictate what you say first, but the majority of the time, you are introducing yourself with your name and your
Hmm.
job title,
Hmm.
because that is how we have been trained to think. Like our base identity is
Yeah.
linked so strongly with
Yes.
the work that we do that that is
Mhm.
how we identify, which is fabulous when you
Yeah.
are doing work that is your mission, that is your soul calling,
Yes.
when you
Your
are
soul's
proud of
purpose.
it,
Yes.
when you can't shut up about it,
Hmm.
honestly.
Hmm.
When you're doing that kind of work,
Yeah.
when you built something with defining your path or with someone like me, then
Yeah.
yes, amazing. Shout it
Yeah.
from the rooftops because that's how you identify. But when your 9 to 5 is building somebody else's dream
Yes.
and you're a cog in a machine that
Hmm.
is killing yourself
Feelings,
with stress and
practical.
depression and
Yes.
ongoing
Mm-hmm.
crises of identity,
Yeah.
then no, that is, do not take that on.
Oh.
And is it any wonder that we
Mm-hmm.
have this epidemic, this pandemic
Mm-hmm.
of identity, loss of identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Disconnection,
Yes.
isolation.
Yes.
It, we're asking these questions more than ever before because now we're in a time where
Mm-hmm.
more than ever before,
Yeah.
we are in a comparison culture.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
that we have this global connectivity and this ability to like peek into each other's voyeuristic
Yes.
tendencies, like all the reels and like the behind the scenes, which let's be
Yeah,
real,
girl.
most of those are not, they're
Right.
super staged.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So now we're comparing ourselves to everybody's highlight reel and
Yeah.
giving ourselves an even worse time
Yes.
and pushing ourselves even harder.
Yeah. Yeah, and we weren't meant to be and do that. We weren't meant to be competitive in that way. We weren't meant to compare ourselves to each other because we're all wonderfully and fearfully made. We were meant to come into community, to collaborate, right? To stand on each other's shoulders, lift each other up, cheer each other, all of these things that society and cultures program us to think is a weakness, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so,
And when you think back to where society started, right? The hunter-gatherer kind of thing,
yes.
that was based off of my strength is this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am good at hunting. I will go out, I will get meat. Okay, great. I'm really good with these seeds I figured out and I can grow some stuff. So I'll do that. Okay,
Mhm.
amazing. I can set up these huts. That's
Yeah,
not like I'll take care of that.
yeah,
Everybody had a strength and
yes,
your unique individual strength, your talent, your individualism was what supported the collective.
yes,
And that was for so long the truth. And then
yes.
we got into a place of assembly line
Mm-hmm.
where
Well,
individuality doesn't serve in expediency and the bottom line. So now we don't want you to be an individual. We want you to follow SOPs and we want you to have very specific performance metrics. And we're
yes.
going to give you reviews regularly to make sure that you remain a very nice little cog in our machine because we want to keep
Absolutely.
cranking out
Mhm.
results.
Right. Brilliant. Diabolical. Modern day slavery. Think about
100%.
how people are not being paid their worth, up to their skill level. You have all this subjectivity, interspersed, this favoritism, all of these, just preferential treatments. Girl, don't get me started because it's a whole line of words coming up in my head. But how candid do we want to get?
Well, and then, we're gonna push you into that mold. And anytime you start to feel unhappy, we're gonna release a brand new little toy that you just have to
Oh,
have
gosh, we're
in
gonna
order to
distract
feel
you.
complete. Like
Hmm.
this is gonna make you
Yes,
happy. This
yes.
membership, this new technology, this
Mhm.
new fangled, like here's a thing.
Yeah,
Here's a thing. You want it. Oh, but if you want it,
yeah,
we're gonna take some of that money, that hard-earned money that you got, and
yeah,
we're gonna keep you in that cycle. Oh, you don't have the money? Here, just borrow.
right.
Go into debt. And now we have another hook in you.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's another reason for you to ignore how
Mm-hmm.
you feel, what is calling to you, the
Hmm.
fact that you are so disconnected from yourself.
Yeah,
Well, you're in debt, so you have no
yes.
choice. Get back up, get back out there, grind.
Exactly. Girl, and you know what? If it wasn't so diabolical, it's really brilliant. You know,
It
when,
is.
when you think about business as most people view it now, and this is what I love about what you're doing, what we're trying to do, at Defining Paths International and everything we have going on, it's literally redefining business, changing the face of it, how we do it, what it's thought of, going back to exactly your beautiful description of more of a trade, right? You pay fair market values for services rendered, right? All of these things that, of course, would most people are like, what? That's not business. Well, who defined business, right? It's the same thing as
Exactly.
who defined normal, who defined all of these things that hold us in chains, right? That cause us to play a game that we never agreed to or made for ourselves rather, and it's like we've just been lined up like these
Yep.
perfect little soldiers, and we're just march it out,
Yep.
right? You know.
And we're at such an
Yeah.
incredible time to redefine
Yes.
because we saw it. When COVID hit, the world stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
We saw for the first time what we had assumed and taken for granted was
Yeah.
the only way things could work was not.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it wasn't
Yes.
even the most efficient.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of these companies and these businesses trying to force people back into the office, back into the workplace,
Yes.
when we have mounting data and metrics that show that
Yes.
there is a vast majority that
Mm-hmm.
not only can do their work remotely, but are more efficient at it and are
Yes.
happier.
Yes. Yes.
Therefore, they're more productive.
Yes. And you can't tell me that they're unaware of this data. The data exists, it's out there, but then there's this whole gaslight because see that would we're pulling cogs out of the wheel, right? So that well-oiled wheel, cannot continue to operate in the way that is ideal, right?
Right.
So, when
Then you
people,
start asking questions.
yes.
That's when that is the danger to a formed society, a status quo, is
Yes.
when people start asking questions
Yes.
because that requires answers that they're not interested in giving.
And
So if we know, if we know with like empirically know, and we can show it with data and metrics and research that this is not the best way,
mm-hmm.
why do we do it this way?
Right.
Who benefits from
Right.
us continuing with a flawed
Mm-hmm.
system?
Mm-hmm. Girl, so good. And we don't answer the right questions, right? Because also our education systems are being dumbed down, and so critical, analytical thinking, logic, all that stuff is out the window, and it's literally we're finding ourselves presently in a perfect storm, right?
Yeah,
And so it's going to be those folks who embrace their awakening, right? These revelations from conversations like this that we're having, and they decide to embrace who they are, right? And walk toward their path, the direction they feel they're being called without fear, because, let's talk, that thing is huge, right? Fear, even from childhood, we start to have these fears because of life. When life happens to us, we have these experiences, it's all and it builds up over time, right? And so most of us don't face and embrace our fear. We don't even know how to make fear our ally, right? And just, allow ourselves to feel it, examine it, accept it, it's there, right? It's real,
yep,
but then release it. Don't internalize it, because so many people can't move out of their cycle of whatever they're in, because of fear, the fear of stability, the
100%.
fear of, what next? And
Yep,
that's why I love, people like you, like us, who are out there helping people with those next steps at whatever stage they're at.
100%. And this is the other side of that tower moment that I was talking about. Like, yes, everything falls apart, it breaks, chaos, like the worst thing has happened.
Yeah.
The fires come through, the tornado has ripped the world apart. You've got some sort of life-altering diagnosis or condition that you're now dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay, awful. 100%. No questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
Awful. Your world has been completely torn upside down.
Right.
Now what?
Right. The now what
This is
part.
the opportunity that that moment gives you is
Yeah.
to ask that now what,
Now what?
right? Okay, you could go back. You could absolutely go back and rebuild the same thing and complete the same cycles. You know what's going to happen there because you've already been there, right? There's not a chance it's going to change. It's going to be the same thing.
Right.
Or you can do something new, and new is scary.
Yeah.
New is going to bring up fear 100%. And there's different types of fear. There's healthy fear that's going
Yeah.
to keep you alive.
Right.
And there's conditioned fear that's
Mm-hmm.
masquerading to keep you in check.
Yes.
But when you have those moments and everything's been torn down anyway, like when you lose the job, when you get divorced,
Mm-hmm.
when you have a massive health shakeup and scare and crisis,
Yeah.
you already know nothing's going to be the same. And you
Right.
go through that grieving process and
Mm-hmm.
you deal with it, healthfully or not, right? You deal with it one way or another because you're in that thick of it.
Right.
Then you have this unique opportunity, and you're not going to see it in the moment. Like, I get that. We're not meant
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
But there is a moment where you get to look at the situation and say, okay,
Yeah.
well, that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to build in its place?
Yes. Yes. You get to choose. People forget they have choice. Choice is a God-given birthright. I know people are taking that away left, right, and center, but it's a God-given birthright to choose. God wouldn't have given us willpower. We have that, but we don't think about that in the moment. But I love what you said about, okay, what's next? That's a simple asking, right? If anyone listening right now, feel free to drop a comment if you're feeling this in the comments. But the what next, just those two little words, if you can embed that in your soul for when things happen, when life happens, and you have to shift, pivot, just what next, that question can drive you forward, and then asking, what were the two things I had it in my mind to say, girl, but girl, I'm just like over here, I'm feeling this conversation, girl, I'm loving it, Elizabeth. How, asking yourself, is it something, what you can control and what you can't control, and then moving forward, finding your willpower, to find your strength and just move forward. Baby steps, you don't have to run, right? You don't have to keep up with the Joneses and everybody else. That's a huge part of our problems too,
Yeah.
you know. But
And here's the thing about what next that I want you to accept and embrace right now.
mm,
You're going to screw up.
yes,
You're going to make a mistake. You're going to mess something up. You're going to look foolish. You're going to do something dumb.
yes,
And that's okay.
it's okay.
It is not the end of the world,
Mm,
right? There is a reason we have electric light.
yes.
There is a reason that we can fly in the air, despite the fact that we were not genetically evolved to get in the air.
Right, right,
Somebody somewhere screwed
right.
up a lot and
Yes.
refused to let that be the end of the story.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
So
Yes.
if that's okay for them, why isn't it okay for you?
Right. Right. This is the thing. We give more grace to others than we give to ourselves. And that's a big thing. That's why, we can't find those right proportions, to just even level ourselves out when the need arises, in the mind, the body, the soul connection. We give more
Hmm.
grace to others. We're more willing. And again, that stems back to the experiences, the trauma, the drama, the condition, all of that stuff. We give others more grace than we give ourselves. And that's,
100%.
it's such a trigger. So accepting, your worth, right? Trusting yourself, that worth, respecting yourself, all of that gets you to that self-love place
Yeah.
where you can say, okay, well, yeah, that was probably not ideal, but next.
Now I know that doesn't work. Let's try that way, you
Exactly,
know?
exactly,
And it
exactly.
can be that simple. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing that I want everyone to understand is so powerful about the work that you and your team do and the work that I do with my clients. Because the thing that makes that less scary, like you're sitting there, you're like, that's all well and good for Thomas Edison and, Henry Ford and people, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. That's great for them. But what the heck am I supposed to do? Like, how do I make it okay to make mistakes? How do I shake everything to the ground and be an innovator? How do I find that in my life?
Yes.
And the answer is when you are connected with
Mm-hmm.
your soul's
Yes.
purpose, when you tap into what is
Mm-hmm.
intrinsically you, what you
Yes.
are coded, like base level, what
Yes.
you came into the world with,
Yeah.
then it's not so scary anymore. Then
Right.
it is so much easier to be like, okay, well, that was an epic fail. That
Yes.
did not flop.
Yes.
Okay, drawing board.
Right.
It becomes, it's just innate. Like you're not going to question it. You're not going to willpower through it. You're not going to force yourself
Mm.
because you are driven by something deeper,
Yes.
something bigger, something more
Yes.
than, oh my gosh, I'm going
Yeah.
to get a bad review. Like I'm
Right.
not going to get the bonus, you know?
Right.
Those things obviously aren't going to motivate you. And you're
No.
not in a system that's meant to be innovative. You're in a system
No.
that's meant to be repeatable. But
Mm.
when you are tapped into your unique, most true self, the
Yes, the
soul, the
essence. Yes.
spirit, the
Mhm,
essence level of
mhm.
you,
Yeah.
then it's not a question of, am I going to try something else? It's how many things can I try until I get it right? And I'm just
Yes. Oh my
going.
girl, you know what? Yes. Yes. I literally just had this in a mentoring session where, it's understanding that your soul we're divergent souls, right? We're not meant to do or be limited to a box, right? Our souls were created to think without a box, right? To follow our flow according to our purpose, the essence of who we are. And the power in understanding and finding that out, right? Seeking, finding, and operating in that superpower, it completely changes your life. You know, you start to manifest those things and be able to call things forward, right? With a newness, a power, a strength that you freak yourself out, girl. Look, I like, oh,
100%.
where does
And
that
this is
come
a
from?
conversation I have a lot. And this is one of the reasons why I work with women pretty much exclusively because they will understand this. And
Mm,
even if they're not mothers, they understand this process.
yeah.
When you have a kid,
Mm,
everything changes.
mm,
It is so like
mm,
genetic DNA base level.
yeah.
When you have a child, the entire center of your gravity shifts. It's no longer about yourself as the center. It is now about that child. And
Mm,
how can I make the world better for that child? What can I do for that child? And
mm,
I'll be honest with you.
mm,
When I had my first baby, right? I'd read the books, I'd done the classes. I mean, I
uh-huh.
was prepared.
Mhm.
And when they handed me my child and said, "There's the door, welcome, you're gonna go home," I was like, "Wait a minute, nobody's checking my credentials. Like, I am not qualified to take this child home. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. How am I supposed to? This is a person. I need to make a person happen. What I'm doing, you know?" But you figure it out because
Yeah.
the stakes are non-negotiable. Like, it's not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I screwed up a lot. I failed at changing diapers. I failed at figuring out how to feed the kid. I failed at figuring out how to get it to sleep. I'm gonna be honest, I dropped my kids a couple times. Like, I failed to
Yeah.
figure out how to hold that thing,
Yeah.
but I didn't give up because that is my child. That is my baby. Like,
Yes.
it's not a question of am I gonna figure it out? It's a
Mm,
question of like, what am I trying next?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is your business as well. That is the business. It is a creation process.
It is.
This
We're
is a
co-creators.
spark of
Yeah.
divine,
Yeah.
right? Like you have brought new life into the world, new creation into the world.
Mhm.
And when you love it that way, when it is a part of you that way,
Mm,
it's the same thing. You don't ask, like, should I just give up on this?
right.
Hell no.
That's
That's
yeah, go
you.
ahead.
That's your baby. You
Exactly.
created that.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to figure it out.
Yeah. So good. But that's also an indication, when people find themselves in that space, that's time also to pulse check, right? Because are you operating in your soul's purpose? Or are you just trying to, or, I mean, are you in a hustle, Because with your business, if you're operating in your soul's purpose and you're connected in that way, just like a mother is connected to a child in that way, then it's a responsibility, right? and and it's not something that you're just gonna let someone else completely take over, or you give up that responsibility for, right? You're gonna want to be involved, you're gonna want to be plugged in, right? So this is the, for folks who are like, okay, do I want to hustle, or do I really want a business? That's a litmus test, because you hear today, a lot of people, they just want to make money quick, right? That's again the social programming. It's the um honestly, it's a bit of a decline within our human existence, right? Because again, we're not here just to sit around, sleep all the time and do nothing, right? Yes, it's okay to enjoy. We need to do that because we have to have those breaks and we have to just breathe and all of that. But if you're going to be in business, you're affecting lives. This is what we don't realize within business. We're affecting people's lives. We're really in the life-saving business, right? And we're these light walkers, right? Most of us who have these big visions, these movements, these missions that we're bringing, trying to bring, birthing. It's about saving people's lives, making other people's lives better. It's not just solely for us. It's why we were
Hmm.
put here. So,
Yes, 100%. And that's when you are doing something that's tapped into your soul level, when you are divinely inspired with your business and
yes.
you are aligned in that place,
Mm,
then it is so much easier to understand what the mission is, what the
it is.
purpose is.
It is.
And you like it takes thinking about it. Even
Yeah.
me, like there's constantly times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to check. Am I on mission? What is my mission?
Yeah.
Did I define my mission? Like, did I think about it enough? But I
Yeah.
know what my mission is and I can articulate it now. And the thing that's so
Mhm.
powerful about that is, like you said, when
Yeah.
you are in business, you are impacting lives.
Yes.
Even if it's not a direct coaching, mentoring, or
Yes.
consulting kind of business, you're still impacting people. You're
Period.
impacting your team. You're impacting
Mhm.
the, contracts and the vendors that you're working with. You're impacting any customers or clients or, people that
Yeah.
they're affecting. And here's the
Yeah.
thing. Here's the thing that's powerful about that. They then impact other people based off of their interaction with you.
Yes.
It is a ripple effect. The same way that giving a smile can have a ripple
Hmm.
effect, like
Yes.
paying for the person's coffee behind you has a ripple
Hmm.
effect, and you see how long it goes. Like these are all examples of the same thing. This is our ability to impact the collective.
Hmm.
And it goes both ways,
Yeah.
right? Like when you're having a bad day and you are short with the person checking you out, what do you think happens to the person behind you?
Hmm.
Or like you're totally in your zone and you're stuck to your phone and you're running late for a meeting and you let the door slam in the face of the person behind you because you weren't even aware they were there.
Right.
What do you think happens to the next person they interact with?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we have this massive capacity that it is daunting to think about that we
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
but it can go either way.
Yeah.
And if that's feeling heavy and you're like, holy shit, Elizabeth, what are you doing to me? I want you to remember that in every single moment,
Mm.
we have the ability to make a choice to go the other direction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to take a step back, and it's okay. Because again, the programming is telling us we have to be on like 100 24/7. And that's not the case. That's what leads to breakdowns like mine, and in the
Yes,
body in every aspect. You know, and so it's so important. And you said something here a couple of times now, and I want to talk about that kind of in our last few minutes, girl, because time just always goes too quick with you because we just be flowing. You mentioned the collective, right? So, and I talk about that a lot. People don't understand you can still own and be an individual within the collective, right?
absolutely.
But we too oftentimes take on the identity of the collective, and that's when we fall into identity crises and any and everything else. That's not good for our health. And so, when we get into this whole competition and comparison, contrast, and what have you, when it comes to business, let alone life, we're looking at, oh, well, girl, don't get me on some of this terminology that I absolutely hate because it's putting people in boxes. But when we start looking or operating like that in business, we're putting pressure on us, and we're if we've managed to come out of some fears, right, we're owning them again, right, instead of releasing them, because we're going back into competition mindsets. We're going back into comparing ourselves when again we were divinely uniquely made. When my husband says all the time, when we first start out, what, we were all farmers, right, of some sort. And you just learn how to do things differently, but it wasn't a fear, and shouldn't be a fear that, oh, someone's going to beat you to market, or somebody's going to do this, that is the mindset that is killing
Yeah,
civilizations.
that's a scarcity
A
mentality. And it
scarcity
is
mentality.
it is a control factor. It
It
is
is.
perpetuated to
Yeah.
keep us in the box. And
Yeah.
this is the thing. There's a reason I talk about it as a collective,
Hmm.
because I think more and more we have been conditioned into corporate.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In corporations, it is imperative that everyone perform within standard operating procedures
Mm-hmm.
and meet certain metrics and has very defined
Right.
timetables. That is the only way it works, right? A
Yeah.
corporation cannot function if
Mm-hmm.
the clearly defined paradigms are not upheld.
Yes.
But humanity is not a corporation.
No.
We are a collective. We
Yes.
are a collective of strengths, of
Mhm.
weaknesses, of talents, of visions. And
Yes.
when we suppress those,
Mm-hmm.
then we leave no room for anything but the corporation because that is security, that is known. And this is the problem I think we're seeing a lot of in
Mm.
the way that humankind is evolving with
Yes.
our technology and
Ah.
the ways that we respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
Instant gratification
Yes.
is now the ultimate high. That's what we're always chasing. And
Mm-hmm.
the more technology, the more convenience we give ourselves, the faster we
Mm.
get that gratification. We
Yes.
do not have to go out and plant the seed and
No.
nurture the plant and harvest and
Still,
then,
yeah, all that.
process and cultivate before we can
Right.
enjoy it. We go to the store and we buy the bread. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
we don't have to go out and track the herd and
Yeah.
make the kill and skin it and gut it and all the things so we can have meat. We just go to
Yeah.
the meat section and we sell them what we want. And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I don't think I'd survive.
Mm.
Like if we had to go back,
Right.
I don't
Right.
know if I'd survive. My husband,
Right.
yes, he's all set. He's ready to go. Me, not so much. Like I really enjoy my
Yeah.
conveniences,
Yeah.
but I also recognize them for the leash that they are,
Yes.
for the danger that they represent, because business
Mm-hmm.
is not instant gratification.
It is not. It is
It is
not.
never going to be. Like you have to put in an investment of time, finances, energy, and passion. And you have to show up and you
Yeah.
have to keep going.
Mm.
And it can look different for every single one of us, and it should,
Right.
because every one of us is unique, every business is unique, and it should be treated as such. That's why I only work one-to-one with clients. I
Mm.
have masterminds that I do, so we have that collective, that
Yes.
community.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to, I have a problem in my business, I need to
Yeah.
know what to do.
Yes.
Let's talk about you and your business.
Mm-hmm.
Let us not broad stroke it,
Right.
okay?
Yes.
Because one size fits all,
Mm.
as any
Is
woman will tell you, is
girl.
one size fits some. And that
Right.
doesn't even mean it fits them well.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I love, that we both do tailored work, right? Because you're recognizing the soul, right? You're seeing that person. You're not trying to fit them into something that they weren't made for or meant for, right? And then just the power in them being heard and focusing that attention on, their challenges and solutions and what have you, or the desires of their heart. There is an empowerment that happens not only individually on both sides, but the trust that builds, right? And that heals. There's the whole, more than the whole, like factor, right? Like trust, but there is a faith also, that a spiritual sense that is reborn back into people's lives, right? Where they feel connected, where they, not only to their business, but themselves into a bigger and a broader picture, into the collective, you know.
Yes.
So it's only, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing
It
when
is.
you're operating.
Just like there are artists who are here to bring beautiful masterpieces into the world, musicians who are meant to make inspiring music, the Sistine Chapel, there are people who are brought forth to bring these beautiful creations to life. There are people. You are here to bring a masterpiece of your business into the world, or you would not be listening to us right now. And
That's
it is okay to not know how it works. It
right.
is okay to be intimidated or even scared of what is being called to you. And it is okay not to know how to do all of it, because not a single person that
Mm.
I have ever met was born knowing how to market, how to bookkeep, how to
Mhm.
network, how to, forecast where a business is going. I have never met that person.
Yeah.
If you are that person, reach out because I'm fascinated by you. but we all learn what we need to as we go until we can bring in people who have those talents and we can
Excellent.
make our own collective because
Mhm.
the goal should be that it is symbiotic, that
Absolutely.
there is synergy, that everyone is working towards a common mission
Mhm.
with their own unique energy, ability, talents, and passion.
Yes, all of that. Girl, look, you know what? Where does time go? Girl, that was a mic drop, and quite frankly, a perfect kind of summation to what we're talking. Girl, I literally this could be 2 hours with us. So we're gonna have to have you back. But I want to just kind of spend some time on in these kind of last 10 minutes or so on and in any direction that you feel that our audience, watching, listening, should consider, when it comes to, the four pillars that we were talking about: the mind, the body, the soul, the business. Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I'm getting pulled to talk about is this issue of time,
Mm,
because a lot of us end up in that burnout place because we have this constant pressure on the timing, right? I should, at this point in my life, I should be this. Like, I should have this much in retirement. I should have this much,
mm,
in savings. I should be in this home. I should have these kind of cars. And at this point in my workday, I should have this much done.
yes.
And I should have this much clean in my home. And right, like we
Yes.
have this pressure of time constantly on us, and we feel like we never have enough time,
Mm,
right?
so good.
If you
Yeah.
feel that, like me too in the comments or something
Yeah.
like,
Yes,
me
absolutely. Me
too,
too.
don't feel like I have the
Right.
time, right? It is a huge factor in what I think leads most of us to burnout is because more and more and more we expect ourselves to cram more and more and more into the same
Mm-hmm.
24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point you need to sleep.
Right.
Despite my toddler's insistence that he doesn't, we all need a certain amount of sleep, and that varies person to person, right?
Mm,
Your need for sleep is unique, the same as you are.
absolutely.
So you need sleep, you need to eat, you
Mm-hmm.
need some downtime.
Yes, downtime, girl. I cannot reiterate how important that is. Mm-hmm.
100%. Like I work with my clients. What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Okay, great. We're scheduling that in. You
Yes.
need to book time with you. If
Mm-hmm.
that's the only way you're going to do it, then let's make that happen
Yeah.
because all of these things need to happen. And yes, you also need to market your business. You need to be working with your clients. You need to be getting the things out there. You need to know where your business is going to.
Yeah.
All of that is true. So, how the hell do you fit it all in?
Mm.
Well, I will tell you, as a homeschooling mom of three who is also running my business, it is
Super
not
fun.
time that's the issue.
Yeah.
Time is not your problem. It's where you're putting your energy,
Where you're putting the energy. Yes.
right?
100%. Mm-hmm.
That analogy of you have so many spoons at the start of the day, and we do not all have the same amount of spoons.
No.
Okay. Do not get yourself in a fix
Yeah.
because somebody told you you have 10 spoons. You might have six. Hell, you
Right.
might have four, right? You
Right.
cannot work with somebody else's allotment. You only have so much energy
That's,
every day. And if
that's,
you do not have planned things like downtime,
mm-hmm.
strategically implemented to revamp your energy,
Yes.
then you are going to be pouring from an empty cup. You are going to exhaust that well. And
Yes.
you can push and push past the point of depletion only so long before you have a DocV moment where you stand up and your body collapses to the floor,
Right. Yes.
where your whole system's like, nope, I got nothing left. I'm done.
Done. Right. Mm.
So monitoring your energy
Yes.
is going to be a huge component of this. And that is why I would love to give everybody something. I would
Mm.
love to offer everybody something to work with because one of the things I found can be really powerful in this
Yeah.
is my clarity matrix. And
Mm.
this is based off the Eisenhower matrix, so you're probably familiar with it, but it's going to show you what activities give you back energy. They light you up. Like you could spend 3 hours and feel like it was 2 minutes,
Yeah. Yes.
versus the things that you spend 3 minutes and you're like, oh my God, it's been 3 days.
Right.
Why is this not done yet?
Right.
That's the difference between something that gains you energy and something that drains your energy.
Absolutely.
So this is a tool that allows you to get a snapshot of what your current energetic ROI is. Because you might be doing things that drain your energy like crazy, but do not move the needle forward. And let me tell you, stop.
Mm,
Okay. Just freaking stop. I don't care how many business mentors or podcasts or articles you read that told you you should do that. You should not. Your
right.
body is telling you no.
Yes.
So
Oh, so
don't do
good.
it.
So good, girl. Right.
Right? Don't keep pushing through it. That's the mentality you're trying to leave behind. That is corporate.
Yes.
You need collective.
Mm-hmm.
So honor what amplifies you. And yes, there are some things that drain your energy that move the needle forward. You still need to do those. And
Yes.
there's room for that. But
Mm-hmm.
what amplifies your energy, what lights you up, which gets you in a flow state, and also moves the needle forward, that is an indication of a zone of genius. And you have more than one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
this is a tool that identifies where are your zones of genius? What could you use more training on to make things go more smoothly? What are
Mm-hmm.
some quick boosts that you could use when you're in the middle of a slog and you've got to get through with something that
Mm-hmm.
drains you regardless? And
Yes.
what do you need to delegate and get the heck off your plate or stop doing entirely right now?
Girl.
So I want
Mm.
you guys to have that because it's such a powerful tool. You can analyze your energetic ROI and really start to move your needle forward and get away from that burnout cycle. Just there'll be a link, but it's
Yes.
gift.surrealdawn.com. And that's yours.
Yes. Oh, bless you, girl. Elizabeth, you are just such light, and I just love you to death. Thank you for joining me once again, for dropping all those nuggets, engaging my whim of following our flow, because I know that someone in the audience is going to take something very powerful away today, and several something. So, audience, be sure to leave your thoughts, your feelings, your ahas, perspective shifts in the comments. If you want to connect with Elizabeth, even say, Elizabeth, I want to connect or whatever. Or definitely click on the link in the show notes and take that quiz. Or if you caught that address, if you're quick on your feet, go to that website and take that, avail yourself of that gift and opportunity. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Dr. V, for having me. And thank you all for listening. It's been a delight.
Yes, absolutely. And we're definitely going to bring Elizabeth back. You know, she's one of our partners. So yes. So we do life and business together. So you will see her again. So again, don't forget to comment, reach out, follow us, Elizabeth Watson, on social media. And we just thank you. Faithful, make sure you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel right below, and set those notifications for our weekly drops. I want to leave you with this. As you've heard Elizabeth say, as you heard me say, the truth will set you free. The truth of who you are will set you free. So learn how to think without that box, unplug from the matrix and that sociocultural programming that's holding you back and snuffing out your soul. You know, conditioning had me on a mindless spiral with no hope, body breaking down. You know, I was not truly defining my own path. I thought I was, right? I was climbing a ladder, I was serving, doing all that stuff, right? I was unable to heal and progress because of the mask that I wore. And even the fear that I still harbored, and the state of denial that I lived in, hiding my truth of who I was, who I am, right? So, how did I break free? I had one of these with myself, a candid conversation. So, I invite you to do that with yourself, right? So, for me, I personally apologize to my soul, to my God, finally chose me. I exercised my birthright choice to pursue my soul's purpose with faith found as my foundation, conscious intuition as my guide. I decided to be the captain of my fate and master of my soul. You can too. That's when I was able to pivot. That's when I was able to heal, rebuild, and pursue my humble transformative greatness. As you just heard Elizabeth give her testimony and in her podcast episode. So, what is the candid conversation trying to erupt in your soul? Think about that. Be honest with yourself. Is it time to come out of that box? Is it time to pivot? Is it time to define your own path? Is it time to reach out to Elizabeth to take that assessment? Is it time to reach out to us at Defining Paths? We're here for you. We're just waiting. We're waiting to get you plugged in and to help you realize that you are the light, you are the revelation. So take avail of those offers, reach out, and understand and know that you must build on your success on a firm foundation: mind, body, soul, and business. So once again, I'm Doc V, the Pivot Maestro, and your corner woman. This is Elizabeth Watson, the awesome, excellent Elizabeth Watson. Please like, subscribe, and set those notifications again to stay plugged in and always be true to you and define your own path. And we'll see you on our next episode. Thanks, Elizabeth.